All right. Welcome to another Pro Football Doc Podcast. We should say boo. It's actually Halloween today.
Absolutely.
Jacob and Taylor are here, and Justin's in the background, our producer somewhere. I'm actually surprised you guys didn't say costumes. I'm glad.
I actually walked out of my house today with my Jack, from a Night Before Christmas mask, and my fiance said you shouldn't wear that to work. So I was ready.
I got an inflatable dinosaur in the costume in the car, so I can pull it out.
All right. Well, there you go.
Yeah. My girlfriend has been wanting an inflatable costume, so we settled on dinosaur.
You got a dinosaur couple?
No, we just got one. It was like
Are you
$40.
guys gonna both be in the
You both fit in the same dinosaur?
We're not costume people, so it was just more like me wear it and go somewhere embarrassing.
Yeah.
What you do on your free time is your deal, man. Whatever.
Maybe we should organize that. Get a little 5-on-5 football game in costumes.
Like a sumo wrestler.
We got enough people at the company.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it'd be interesting. So, I was surprised. I'm going to try and get home early today. Kids trick or treat. They go so early daytime. It's not bad because it's my kids are little. It's like, what we doing a costume? What are you doing? She goes. Well, I said no. I was like, wow, it's the first time ever. Now, admittedly, I probably complained about costumes in the past, like family costumes and this, that. And then I actually look back and it's like I kind of miss the family costumes. The kids all want to be their own thing.
Yep.
So
you can't do the whole family.
There's no family thing. So, I mean, this is probably not the way to do it, but I'll get Justin to cut it in. But this was not a bad one.
Oh, the Minions one?
Minions one.
Yeah, that was a great one.
When they were little. And this was the next year. I was working out.
There you go. Just for the role. Yep.
Just for that one. Method acting, working out. And then this is our last one that was family oriented.
The Ghostbusters?
Yeah, you guys have.
Nice.
You guys don't even know Ghostbusters. No, sort of Ghostbusters.
Of course.
I mean, you see the twins are. She's a scary cheerleader. He's got whatever that scream.
Yeah.
But we were able to get the little one to be Stay Puff. And then after that, I mean, this was last year, right? They want to do their.
Didn't your wife do Olivia Newton-John one year?
Olivia Newton-John.
Yeah, from the Grease. I don't remember. I remember
that's a poll.
Yeah.
It's in your head somewhere, so it must be one off.
Yeah.
Oh, and then I don't know if I can find it. I think last year or the year before, I actually had the easiest costume. It was I was a doctor.
Oh, wow.
That doesn't count.
Wow.
Come on.
Well, no, here's where it counts.
Okay.
I'll try and find the picture. I don't know where it is.
Because you're a surgeon, not a doctor. So.
No. I'll try and find the.
I was a nurse for years because my mom is, and she would just bring scrubs home. So talk
There you
about
go.
a very easy costume. That was it. Yeah.
No. I can't find it now.
I'm trying to remember, but I don't know if it's Christmas or Halloween that you told your wife don't get them what they pick out first because they always change their mind last second.
Oh,
I think it's both.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Yeah.
Smart move. Correct. Yeah.
No, I can't find the picture. Last year I was a quote doctor, but it was my wife was dressed up as the Operation Game.
Oh,
there
it was
you
a
go.
combo thing.
With
I
a
gotcha.
red nose and the best thing is I had barbecue tongs and I kept poking at her all
that's
night.
good. That's a good idea.
Yeah, they didn't go over so well.
Yeah.
But anyways, enough of
and
Halloween.
you're shocked that there's no costume this year when that was last year. There might be a correlation there.
Maybe. Either it kind of makes me nervous. Either there's going to be a big surprise when I get home and here you go, or I mean, so it's sort of like feast or famine, you know,
or trick or treat. Yeah.
Yeah, we should probably do a Halloween scary or propositions, like some of the prop bets. Although we've been doing well, the algorithm of the prop bets.
Absolutely.
The binary. Although we got one wrong, right? The figured for sure Russell Wilson not being mobile.
Yeah.
All the way to the fourth quarter, we were there.
Any prop?
Well, no, but that was a Josh Allen
minutes.
sack.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone else got sacks, but Josh Allen didn't. But
the Jaguars,
whatever.
Josh Allen.
Jaguars, Josh Allen, not the other.
No, we watched the video, right? I'm pretty sure Josh Allen was the second guy to the sack every single one of the sacks. So he was there.
Horseshoes.
Yes.
Yeah. For the rest, you guys killed with 10-3 on props. I mean, you guys killed the props. Anyways, all right, what do we got besides this Halloween nonsense fun today?
Kind of a slow week for injuries, but there's always injury situations to talk about. I think I don't know, maybe one to get out of the way is PJ Walker, the starting quarterback going forward. I think Baker and Sam Darnold's health is kind of a distant
Is he
view in
finally an
everyone's
NFL
mind.
MVP now? Is he no longer an XFL MVP?
He had the most air yards of any pass since 2008 on that DJ Moore Hail Mary. So
Michael Vick was the last one.
Yeah.
Deshaun Jackson, a lot of years ago.
that was a heck of a game.
Well, look, I know we were on that.
Right.
DJ Moore and PJ Walker.
And Carolina +4. We were the whole shebang.
Yeah. And based on the
Didn't look good in the start. There was PJ Walker was 2 of 7 to start, I think. We were 17 yards and then heated up late. So just need some time.
Well, and it was all based on the Falcons secondary, right?
Right. 3 out of 4 were out. Yep.
3 out of 4. So
it might not get better because AJ Terrell's still dealing with hamstring, and Casey Hayward's still on IR.
Yeah, so that's gonna be something to watch, and we got it. We did that pretty well, I think, because remember, we've been on Atlanta a lot just by happenstance.
Right.
It wasn't a futures or anything. We just by the 6 scores. We've been on Atlanta a lot, like Atlanta, San Francisco, Atlanta, Cleveland.
Yeah, now flipped.
Now we actually
so they're
flipped it.
secondary. Yeah,
I know. When I looked at the thing, is are we really gonna take Carolina here?
No, it's crazy too
Walker,
because Atlanta's been covering the spread almost every single game. So the one time that they didn't, we were on the other side and we were good,
lucky.
so,
Yeah. But it's just the schemes and so forth. Yeah. No, that was good. That was a Halloween scary to take PJ Walker.
Take Carolina. Beware.
But that's what we try and do. We try and blind the names of the teams,
right,
and look at the injuries and see what's going on.
I want to talk about Dante Foreman a little bit and his emergence as the lead back there. I mean, obviously with the McCaffrey trade, there's a opportunity for playing time, but there's kind of a myth in the fantasy community, or just a perception that an Achilles tear for running back is a career ender or really tough to come back from. Dante Foreman's was November 2017 Achilles tear, and he kind of had middling roles, had a decent role with the Titans last year, 566 yards and 3 touchdowns, and then now back-to-back games, 118 on 7 yards of carry and 4.5. So,
yeah, well, I guess I didn't answer your last question. Baker Mayfield, we've been saying for a while, it's been hiding behind health.
Yeah,
and at this point, Sam Darnold is too. So, I mean, their coaching decision, whatever. Coach Wilkes, I know Coach Wilkes. He was a DB coach with us.
He's done a good job over there since taking over from Rule.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't win that game.
We won that
game.
Sometimes I forget that. Yeah,
they didn't win that game. We won that game.
Yeah.
DJ Moore, the helmet.
That's great.
Oh, I have a question about that. I was reading about it. I don't know your thoughts. Just by so when you get that 15-yard penalty, it's for when you're standing on the field. He was not on the field. He was on the
past the end zone. Yeah.
So do you still call that? Because officiating, I've seen multiple things on Twitter, check marks and stuff, blue check marks, saying that they maybe shouldn't have called that. What are your thoughts or what you've seen in the past, being on the sidelines?
You're looking at me for that because somehow in our command center, everyone turns to me when there's a replay. Is that a catch?
I'm like, Doc, is that a
catch
or not? No, you've seen it. You've seen more than we have. So.
You're the only. I'll tell you why that happens, because you're the only one that doesn't hem and haw. We always look at it and we're like, I don't know. You just need one view and you're like, that's catch.
There was one you weren't even in the room. You were standing behind on the phone and you were like, nope. You shook your head at me.
And it was no.
and you were all rooting for it.
Yeah,
I wanted it to be too.
Yeah,
It was McCaffrey.
Yes, exactly.
We wanted it to be a catch, but for the props. But now, I don't know if I told this story to you guys in probably my best compliment on the sideline of a football game, maybe ever. Doug Flutie, he knows football, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when he was with the Chargers, he would come up to me and say, Doc, what's that going to be on the replay?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wow, Ryan, why don't you just poke your head in here? Come on, bud. He's by 7 times. No, I know. He's pretending to be shy.
I texted him to walk behind me this time. That's why he walked that way.
It's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good. So, anyways, he would say, I mean, believe it or not, players don't watch a lot of TV football.
Mhm.
They watch film.
Right.
That's not TV football.
Yeah,
No,
it's not the produced broadcast and all the replays and everything. Yeah.
I, even prior to this, watched a lot of TV football.
Okay.
And if you understand the rulings and what they're saying, maybe that's why players would turn to me, because they watch a lot of film. They can scheme. They don't watch TV stuff.
Right.
I watched a lot of TV stuff, so I think they turned to me.
Do they know who Dean Blandino is?
I don't know.
Probably not.
No.
Anyways, so that's why when you guys ask me, I don't know. It's just kind of knowing what the other side is. And not perfect. There's some close calls, but like the McCaffrey one, I think was pretty easy. By rule, it wasn't. I mean, you could say it looks like it's this. It looks like I get it, but the rule is the rule, and you can disagree with the rule. So, anyways,
Dante Foreman. So is he the one exception to that? I mean, there's been a lot of running backs who've torn it. Arian Foster, Marlon Mack kind of can't get time now. Cam Akers, obviously.
Cam Akers, and who actually is fine, right? Everyone's celebrating his great return. Last playoffs was like, he's not there yet.
Yeah.
He's there now, but he can't pass pro.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, James Robinson was coming off last year.
Very true.
I mean, if you think about it, and let's go, we cover all sports and panel, but remember when Kevin Durant tore his Achilles? Everyone said he's not going to be the same.
Yep, I do remember that.
Is he not a top 5 player? I mean, he's the same
player.
Right?
Yep.
And I think we were prisoners of the moment with I think there's a lot of prisoners of the moment stuff. Kobe tore his Achilles and didn't really make it back. So
he's
therefore
33, 34.
Yeah, he was older, and then he came back and then developed a knee injury and his career fizzled. And
he had to change his play style. Yeah.
I mean, but people forget, you guys probably don't even know who this is because you're too young. Dominique Wilkins.
We definitely know who that is. Human highlight film.
Come on.
Really?
He tore his Achilles, right? And came back just fine.
Yep.
And,
most explosive dunker in history.
When you really get down to it, I mean, we're prisoners of the moment too. We're still prisoners right now of Adrian Peterson's ACL recovery. Why isn't Gus Edwards? Why isn't
do it like him? Yeah, I mean, for sure.
So I don't know. No, I don't. I think Achilles is fine. Dante Foreman, we have confidence in him. Rehab's changed. The surgery's about the same. Obviously, he's doing very well. He's getting the opportunities right now, especially Chuba Hubbard still. His injury might be worse than we initially thought. We thought he might be able to play through, but
they're working out some running backs right now.
Yeah. So it might be Foreman for another week or
rest of the season, maybe
exclusively at least, right? He kind of got all.
Yeah, he's getting all the running back snaps. Yeah, let's see if he keeps getting the passing down work.
Remember last year too, when Derrick Henry broke his foot, he was the guy that had almost 600 yards rushing in his steed. So he knows how to do that.
Another hiding behind health situation that I kind of misjudged. I think from Vrabel's press conferences, we thought Tannehill was starting all week. He was downplaying the ankle, and then he developed the illness and didn't travel to Houston. And Malik Willis starting his place. I mean, 10 throws overall from Malik Willis, 5 rushes. They ran the ball 40 times with their running backs.
Well, that's an interesting thing. I mean, in game week 7, when Tannehill went down, I thought it was a DEFCON 1. I was like, Tannehill's not coming back into this game. Now he did.
Walking boot after the game.
Right.
Yeah.
And walking boot after the game and more
high ankle sprain on the milder side, or
it's on the milder side. I mean, it's not a severe IR one, but look, if he were a cornerback, he probably would hit injured reserve.
Right.
But he's a quarterback. Big difference, right? I mean,
he is mobile, so it might affect him a little more.
Yeah, I mean, there may have been a little of hiding behind health there, saying, look, I'd rather go with Malik Willis than Tannehill. And
you don't want Tannehill to back up either, right? Wouldn't that mess with Willis's head in his first start, leaving him, on home with an illness?
It's very strange when you have the, quote, starting quarterback as a backup.
Okay.
Right. Just don't do that. I mean, going
why
back
Matt Ryan wasn't dressed.
Yeah. Going all the way back to Jared Goff before he got traded.
Mm-hmm.
He was the backup to Wolford.
Right.
That was strange. Now, he ended up playing a lot.
What about Jameis Winston? He's kind of the backup to Dalton now, even though
there's hiding behind health.
Yeah, I think there's a clear
while ago. Yep,
quarterback, a clear head coach choice in that department.
Yeah.
And we've talked about that, I think, that it's not his back. It's not the back fractures. He played the next week after the back fractures.
The ankle was more severe, but it's
the ankle's passed.
Yes,
the knee's still not 100%, the ACL. But this is the decision right now.
Mm-hmm.
and anything else is hiding behind health. With Matt Ryan, at least they said, okay, he's got an injury, but that's not why. They at least clarified that. And part of I think the reason they were more honest about that's not why is they knew Matt's injury wasn't horrible and it wasn't long term.
So he was going to come back soon.
So they didn't want the continued speculation on Ellinger.
That makes sense.
I think that was
the interesting wrinkle with Tannehill one too is they get a Sunday night matchup against the Chiefs. What are the odds we see Malik Willis in that game under center? I mean, is it like a Tannehill magically healed and now he's back under center against the Chiefs?
They're both 5-2.
It's a big game.
Yeah. The Colts are coming, so I mean, you need to win.
Still got the win over Texans. So,
well, I was a little surprised. I probably was more surprised that Tannehill returned to the Week 7 game than I was that Tannehill didn't play Week 8.
Mm-hmm.
Week 9, I think he's got a reasonable chance to play. Now, I don't know what his rushing prop's going to be, and et cetera.
Hint, right?
Yeah. But we'll see. Yeah.
Right.
Another situation that I caught from a press conference yesterday. I mean, James Robinson, 5 carries for 17 yards with the Jets. And we touched on his knee soreness last week, his phantom knee soreness. But the fact that Robert Saleh, after that Zach Wilson game, threw for over 300 yards, but 3 interceptions, including a couple bad ones, said Mike White is the number 2 on the depth chart over Joe Flacco, who did pretty well stepping in for Zach Wilson. Is there anything to make of that, or is that just, favoring Mike White, giving him a little pump up?
Flacco's old. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I thought more interesting, Elijah Moore is going to talk himself out into a trade. But
Taylor's loving that. Yeah.
I mean,
they even asked him, do you have any chemistry with Zach Wilson? He's like, I don't know. I don't get the ball. That's a great comment.
That tells you all you need to know about chemistry.
He already tried the trade route. They said no. They benched him for a game, personal.
And then Corey Davis got hurt, injury based.
So then they needed him out there, and he got 1 target. So I'm not sure.
I don't know. I think you'd rather probably bring donuts and coffee into your quarterback than do this.
Yeah, right? No, I think so.
This is not the route. He's choosing the nuclear option.
Well, he has multiple players actually helping him too. AJ Brown played with him at Ole Miss, I believe, and he said free Elijah Moore a week or 2 ago. So he's trying to, I don't know what he's trying to do, but like you said, I don't know if it's the right route right now.
Trade deadline tomorrow, so something needs to happen quick.
Yeah.
Well, you realize there's another way out too.
Okay.
Getting cut.
Well, tell him. So yeah. There you go. Moore needs to know that.
At some point, you're enough of a distraction.
You try to force the trade enough that they're just going to cut you. Yeah.
You're getting close to that, I would say.
That might happen with Cam Akers. I don't think they're finding any trade targets. It's been 3 weeks they've been trying to find a trade.
Well, and they're trying to prop up the trade by saying, well, he'll play for us.
Yeah.
Is it hard to cut like a first?
Where do you think that leak came? Came out, oh no, he'll play for us again if we don't trade him. I.e., he has value for anyone else out there. So he's going to get cut. So let's just wait. Why do we need to give up a draft pick?
But Ronnie Rivers at 180, 190. He's not a big back, and he's getting snaps over at Cam Akers. So yeah,
I don't know. The Moore situation's weird. They need to figure that out.
It seems like there's a lot more of that this year than past years, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just reading into that.
Well, another topic that I want to bring up here, because you said this year, there's been a change in the landscape in terms of we have placed too much importance on this person's going to IR or not. And in the past, it was a huge deal because it was a one-way street. And then with COVID, everything started to be short-term IR, more short-term IR. Now you have an unlimited number of 4-week IRs. You just can't do it multiple times on the same player.
Right.
But the other side of the equation, if you look at it, Dak Prescott, and since we can look at it in retrospect, and I'm talking about this because of Jamar Chase. Big news, Jamar Chase not going on injured reserve.
Right.
And I think the reaction of the world is that means his injury isn't that bad. He won't be out 4 weeks.
It's a roster game, right?
I don't know that that's the case.
Their buys right in the middle of that week 10, so it would be putting him on IR would be 5 weeks instead of 4.
Be 5 weeks,
Yeah.
correct.
Yep.
And that may be why he's not on IR. Jamar Chase is important enough if he can make it back 1 week quicker. He's still a multi-week injury. You can go to the videos or go to sixscore.com. This is a Ryan Fitzpatrick type injury. Of course, he's a wide receiver. This is in the Bo Jackson family. I'm not saying it's a Bo Jackson injury.
Cousin or something, yeah.
Smaller, weaker cousin. Okay. Right? I mean, he continued to play. Right? Okay. But look at the video. It's a posterior hip subluxation, posterior rim fracture. It's not as bad as Tua. Tua actually dislocated.
Correct.
But you got to take it slow because of the articular cartilage. And in no way am I criticizing the Bengals medical staff. I actually know some of those guys pretty well. Look, he did the gritty after the week 6 touchdown.
He
And he
looked
returned
fine.
to play in the fourth quarter. He looked fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if he's not complaining, it's hard to say. I mean, and then he looked great in week 7 and then developed more soreness or I guess started being out a little bit
Right.
second half of week 7. And then they image it and they find this and then they're holding him out. So, I mean,
It reminds me of Joe Mixon. Do you remember Joe Mixon a couple years ago? He had a foot injury and we could never find the play. And the last thing he did was dance after his touchdown run. And we were just like, I didn't see anything in the dance either, So,
well, it reminds me of
as well.
It reminds me of Ezekiel Elliott.
Yep.
Last week, Ezekiel Elliott, hyperextension. We said it's not horrible because his foot wasn't planted.
Right.
He stayed in the game.
Came back 2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns and 2 plays later, hopped the same safety that hit his knee. I mean, leapt over him. And then now out with the bone bruise ahead of the bye week.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be back the week after. So
right.
did the Cowboys make a mistake there? No. I mean, it's just how, it works. It works. Yeah.
You don't have time on game days to do the full diagnostics and everything.
Yeah,
and
you're not sending everyone to an MRI and the whole deal. You're there. Could he play and do something? I think they both could earlier. I think they just don't want to turn it into something worse long term. That's sort of the idea.
And they have the luxury with Pollard there, right? They can sit him out as long as they need to.
So Jamar Chase, no IR.
Just want to clarify too. People hear fracture, and I think they think that is what's holding him out. Is it the fracture or is it the bone bruise, labrum damage?
I think it's the bone bruise, labrum damage. I've said this before. Articular cartilage is like grass on a football field, and the bone is like dirt. So a bone bruise is like when an elephant stomps on the grass, sort of compacts the dirt a little bit. You kind of have to keep off the grass afterwards,
right,
to make sure it doesn't die out.
Right.
And if it dies out, okay, in the NFL, you roll in some more AstroTurf. Just kidding. A new grass field or sod or whatever. Articular cartilage is precious. That's what the worry and the concern is.
I know we beat it to that too, but the Lamar Jackson last year, that's why he didn't practice.
Ankle bone bruise. That's why we had 4 straight weeks of John Harbaugh saying, it looks better. No, he's not playing.
And when he did practice, it was super slow. He couldn't beat the QB coach. Yeah.
Remember Zach Wilson? He didn't move at all for a whole month for the bone bruise.
Same with Zach Wilson. Yeah. Good comps.
Yeah.
So going back to the injured reserve question, Dak Prescott, no bone bruise, broken thumb, did not go on injured reserve.
Michael Thomas is one too, I guess.
Michael Thomas, you could say, is one.
Yeah.
We still don't know what his injury really has. Yeah. But the reason why you see some of that isn't necessarily mismanagement. Like Dak Prescott came out and said afterwards, I was told from the get-go it was 4 to 6 weeks, likely 6, not 4.
Like there was never 3 in his head.
I mean, Jerry Jones, Dr. Jera said, in
public it's different.
Yeah. Anyways, but they didn't make a mistake when I put him in IR. That he was involved in practice, he could be around.
Right.
Jamar, I'm not saying they're making a mistake. I mean, with the bye week, maybe 1 week earlier, you can get him back. But you have to understand, the practice squad call-ups didn't used to be there. Practice squad used to be more limited in numbers, and you couldn't call them up like that and put them back down like that. Now you can have veterans. You can have 10-year vets on the practice squad ready to play. And you can call them up on Saturday and play them on Sunday and then put them back down. So that's giving you some roster flexibility.
So much more than they never had before. So,
which is why if there's a 1% chance Jamar Chase can be back at the 5-week mark, which is because of the IR rules and the bye is 4 games missed, you're going to not put him on injured reserve.
Right.
Not because you think he's going to play next week, but it's just roster management. And the rules are different, and teams take advantage of that. And that's all within the rules of the game and what it is.
Let's get to some coach speak. Not a ton of examples this week, but McVay on Cooper Kupp's injury late in the Niners game said after the game he thinks it's an ankle, but he didn't have an update. Is that a Ron Rivera special of not talking to the medical staff?
I think
before the press conference. Like
that's good.
That's where we come in great because it's like, well, yeah, we show you the replay right here. It's definitely an ankle.
I don't know that I've told that story publicly, Jacob. I've told
sorry.
it to you.
Yeah.
Justin, edit. No, just kidding.
Sorry, Coach Rivera.
I love Coach Rivera, and I'm not going to out him on any of his little
yes
secrets there. But look, it might be that. I mean, look, coaches say that stuff all the time.
Right.
I'm not sure. It might be this.
He also blamed himself for the play calling. He said, I mean, it was 2 minutes left, and he's throwing a wide receiver screen to Cooper Kupp down 15, or I forget what the exact score was. But
should he be in the game?
I mean, hindsight's 2020. There's always that conversation after someone gets hurt like that. But I think there's a point.
Jared Stidham. Okay, they took out my precious quarterback yesterday. All right,
when he got shut out by the Saints.
in the fourth quarter, and it wasn't as big. I don't know. I feel like you have to protect him in a way. That's your number one receiver by a lot.
Well, let me ask you this question: if you're down 2 scores, 15 with 2 minutes left, should you remove all the starters?
I don't think the game's out of hand.
That's not
unless it's 3 scores.
You can come back then. I think. Yeah, you're right.
I'm just saying.
No, you're right. There's a thought that you could keep him in. Yeah, no, you're right.
So
but I don't think a screen is gonna help. Well,
that's the thing. Okay. So if you notice,
yeah.
Sean McVay didn't say he shouldn't have been in the game.
So he should have called that play. Yeah.
He shouldn't have called that play.
Yes.
Now, well, here's my translation of that. What he's saying is we hadn't given up on the game yet, and so he's in the game. But a wide receiver screen wasn't going to get us there.
Right.
So if we're going to have Cooper Kupp in the game, let's take some shots.
Yeah. Right. Yes. So
I think that's what
he said it correctly.
He actually said it correctly.
Yeah.
Right. I think.
Yeah.
I don't think this is the same as what happened in LA a few weeks ago with the Chargers, Brandon Staley leaving in Justin Herbert with the ribs.
Yeah.
They were down 4 scores to the Jaguars.
That did really
okay, with late in the fourth quarter.
That was more indefensible. Yeah.
And he already had an injury and, whatever. So Sean McVay didn't say he shouldn't have been in the game. He said, I don't think I like that play call in retrospect. Yeah. So he's saying if he's going to be in the game, let's try and win. And the screen, etc. And by the way, we put out in game early that we don't think it's significant, his ankle.
Right.
And Cooper Kupp is saying, yes, we think he dodged a bullet, this, that, the other.
Yeah, 6 score of 84.
And look, the only reason he dodged a bullet is the playing surface.
Okay.
Joke.
Should keep a straight face.
Joke.
I'm just gonna nod with you.
Yeah. Okay. That was at SoFi.
Right.
That was the scene of, oh my God, DK Metcalf knee, which turned out to be fine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, JC Jackson knee, patella tendon rupture, not so fine. Cooper Kupp was on turf.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he escaped. So I'm all for all grass fields, don't get me wrong, but it's not going to get rid of all injuries. And just because you're on turf doesn't mean you will be injured.
Magically make it better or worse. Yeah.
I mean, there are some instances where your foot sticks. This was not one of them. So you can dodge bullets on turf is all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Now, overall, would players prefer grass? I believe so.
Yeah.
Would I prefer grass? Yes. But it's not going to be the be all end all. Just because on turf, he gets this, that, the other. I mean, if you look at big injuries, Breece Hall, ACL, that was on grass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In Denver. I mean, half the fields are grass. half the injuries are on turf because that's the way it works. Yes, there's slight more predilection for injury on turf for certain types of injuries, but I know Pete Carroll brought it up, and it's become a talking point.
Mm-hmm.
But my understanding is, and look, I get JC Treader, I'm good with it.
Mm-hmm.
What he's saying. But my understanding is with the last CBA, the players bargained that away. They could have said only grass, and they bargained it away. So
I didn't know that. Yeah,
that's what I'm told related to the last CBA. That was a discussion point.
Okay,
they could have stuck to it, but they bargained it away. So, anyways,
I have a thing to add to hiding the health. Just a topic I saw. There's a couple players that got traded that had injury issues, and now they're like playing and not on an injury report. Andy Reid said Tony's completely healthy, which I don't believe. He had hamstring strains on both hamstrings on the Giants, and then he got traded and it was gone.
With Giants, no pass catchers, so why wouldn't he be out there if he's healthy? Yeah.
James Robinson had knee soreness, not on the injury report going into the Jets game this week. And then remember last year, the Jags, there was one instance where the entire O-line was on the injury report. Urban Meyer got fired. None of them are on the next week. So I know they're not allowed to lie on this stuff, but like, is that like when they get traded? Is that like, do they use that sometimes to keep them out of the lineup?
Well, they got to pass the physical, right? Too.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It just seems interesting, Tony specifically, because.
Well, it's not binary. It's not
Right.
on, off. Health is always relative. We always say 85% is a healthy week. So who knows? Maybe from the Giants' perspective, 85% he's injured and not good enough. And from Andy Reid's perspective, 85% is perfectly fine. And part of health, and don't forget, we do these Hayden Hurst podcast, mental health, in terms of motivation and confidence. I mean, you have to feel right to feel, and some of that, there are other factors that come in to feeling right. It's not all just physical. I mean, I used to always lobby when I'd ask a player, you know, do you think you can go? And if the answer is no, then even if medically I think he can go,
that means it's up there.
We shouldn't put him in. He's not confident enough on his ACL recovery or this, that, the other. I mean, so
we covered basketball at Six Score, and that was one of the ones I remember last year. Jamal Murray, he's missed almost 200 games with the ACL and recovery, and he said that he was medically cleared to go into the playoffs in limited minutes last year, but he was mentally not ready. And I think that's a key. People don't realize that when they're coming back.
No, and I think letting that out kind of throws the player under the bus. He's out hanging to dry. You're medically fine.
Like,
why
we're in the playoffs.
Going?
Aren't you helping us? Yeah.
I mean, being mentally confident and able to, especially in a sport where you go two ways,
right?
That's a big deal. You guys hear me talk about a cornerback, Tre'Davious White, is a lot harder than Gus Edwards, you know, and
I'm sure it's in the back of your mind that, they know which knee is hurt, so they're going to target that knee every time, and I got to be confident enough to turn and
every
run
cut
on
you're
it.
thinking too, I believe, right? Yeah.
Look, Michael Gallup is still struggling a little bit coming off his ACL. Nothing wrong with
Robert Woods. Yeah.
Robert Woods is still struggling a little bit. But if they played the other side of the ball and had to react, they'd be giving up 6 points.
Yeah.
Here, they just don't make a cut as sharp. They know where they're going.
Right.
But they maybe take an extra step or an extra millisecond on a cut. Now, if you're doing that to react, you're giving up 6 points.
Right.
It's not fair to compare the wide receivers coming back more quickly to a Tre'Davious White who's not yet.
Yep.
It's just not fair.
You're not dictating the play.
And look, Gallup's injury was after. I mean, his was a little after Christmas, I think. And
Tre'Davious was Thanksgiving.
Tre'Davious was Thanksgiving. But you can't make that linear comparison in terms of, and for basketball, in Derrick Rose's defense, Jamal Murray's defense, you have to play both ways. Right. And there's just more quick cutting on a continuous basis. It's not football where you get to relax and get ready 4 or 5 seconds like a bat out of hell and then get to reorganize and relax. It's like continuous flow.
There's a sort of expectation too. Like, he's not just like a role player. Like, they're expecting him to go out and get 20 points a game, 8 assists, be the guy. And like, if you're not ready to do that mentally, then,
and both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I mean, I can defend that. I can support him on that.
For sure.
Well, speaking of ACL recoveries, I mean, we have Dobbins doing the knee scope, but Gus Edwards picked up a hamstring through Rappaport. It's reportedly considered minor, and if he misses time, it's a week or so. I feel like hamstring strains has been the topic of the week for us.
Injury begets injury in your head, like in Doc's voice. That's what I say every time.
Acclimation,
I see that.
All that stuff.
I mean, look, we were not high on. Well, maybe it's a good time to go through this a little bit.
A mid-season, review.
I mean, mid-season now 8.5 weeks instead of 8 weeks, right? 17 games. And I guess you could argue mid-season is maybe we'll do a formal mid-season report next week because it's really an 18-week season, 17 games.
So where's the midpoint? Yeah.
Where's the midpoint? Probably next week at 9 weeks.
9,
because of the buys, right?
Yep.
But as we get close to it, and we'll have a whole segment on that. But right now, okay, look, J.K. Dobbins, we said all along, he's not there, multi-ligament.
875 prop.
Actually did really well. Yeah, our futures prop. I mean, it should be very, very easy. Don't know where he's coming back. Of course, the scar tissue is related to his original surgery, multi-ligament, which he now has admitted to and documented. Remember before the season started, and he said, talk to me if you want to know about injuries.
Yeah.
And I think he was aiming that at Rap Sheet more than me, but whatever. I just don't make the radar screen, I guess.
You're an actual fantasy doctor, so when Michael Thomas said that, I felt kind of upset because I think he was talking about.
Well,
someone.
okay. We'll go to Michael Thomas
Yeah.
next. Gus Edwards just comes back and now hamstring.
Right.
I mean, Chris Godwin played early that first game and developed a hamstring.
Yep.
He's done well now. I mean,
He's-
it's mid-season. We always said mid-season, second half of the season. Michael Thomas, look, when we gave him a lower 6 score, the last full season Michael Thomas had, he had 1,700 yards.
He
So
broke the record for catches. Yeah.
So our 6 score was in the 60s,
Mhm.
and we kept upping it because
To
he started
77.
doing better.
Yep.
But at the beginning of the season, what we were saying is a fully healthy Michael Thomas can get you 1,500, 1,700 yards. He's that good.
Mhm.
This is not a fully healthy Michael Thomas. We're not sure he's going to get you 1,000. That's why we made him in the 60s.
And we had no idea about the foot injury when we did.
Well, the foot,
Yeah.
I mean, injuries beget
Yeah,
injuries.
exactly.
Okay, but a
Yeah.
whole
You
nother
see,
story,
yep.
you know, kind of thing. And we can go through a bunch of them. And Michael Gallup is not.
Jacob
in
has a
there.
list. He can name a couple,
Yeah.
rattle a couple.
Robert Woods, we had the under
Yeah.
775.5 receiving yards. He's played every game, and he's at 256 so far, 36.6 a game. Saquon, we had the over 900.
Oh, that's my favorite.
That's
He's
the
at
best
7.
one.
He's at 779. He's actually the leading rusher in the NFL right now. So
Oh, don't count that chicken yet. We
I
hope.
know, 901.
Knock on wood, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
You said it yesterday. No season. No season.
I
yeah.
mean,
Exactly.
he shouldn't. His ACL's, but like, you know, it's football, so you never know. You can't count anything yet.
For
But yeah,
sure.
that certainly looks good.
Yeah.
You know,
McCaffrey's number we thought was a little depressed because of the past injury issues, soft tissue and stuff. His over under was 875.5. He's at 525 rushing yards
and ascending.
because
Yeah.
Lead
Behind a
back.
much better offensive line. Yeah, we
Right.
didn't know, but yeah.
that helps it.
Yeah.
So
Those,
that's just a snippet, but we'll have the full report next week.
yeah. We'll go over that.
Vikings win totals look good though.
6
Oh,
and
that's
1.
not-
Yeah.
we like
Don't get
that.
me excited. Yeah. And the division was plus 240 when we wrote an article about that as well. Yeah.
Well, it's not done yet, but
I know,
it's looking
I know.
good.
What-
I mean,
Don't tell Taylor
Stop the
that.
count. Yeah.
He thinks
I
the
mean-
Phillies already won. So
Yeah. see?
I mean, the Vikings are in what do they have, a 3.5 game lead.
And why do we say that too? They are completely green on both sides of the ball, and they were like that to start the year too.
and it was
so.
a Packers bet.
And-
It was Bakhtiari question marks. It was the
Yes.
wide receiver spots. It was
linkage.
the
Yeah,
O line.
We took over win total on Vikings, under on the Packers. I didn't know until last night that, because I didn't do my homework, the last 3 years, 13-3, 13-3, 13-4, the Packers. I did not know that.
Yeah,
And we were taking under 10.5.
Yep.
that's quite a limb there. Yeah,
I mean, if I would have known that, maybe I would have gotten afraid. No, just kidding. I was just like,
I hide some stuff back. Yeah.
they're Bakhtiari, Elton Jenkins out again. I mean,
yeah.
that's their hot mess. Yeah, and they have a young wide receiver room. I get it. And yes, they have had injuries there, but it's their O-line, the bookend tackles that have been the issue. And that's why we shorted them from the start of the season.
Right.
They're 3-5. It's not Aaron Rodgers, it's the protection.
Correct.
And they have to be a run first team. We talked about that. And yeah, we took Vikings plus 240, where you guys did, with the sick picks. So knock on wood, hopefully some of those will pay off there for our followers, readers, or people who signed up for sick picks. You can go to sicscore.com and do that and give it a try and see. There's some in-game plays, fantasy plays. You can go. We don't hide any information. You can listen to this podcast. You can follow everything we do on Twitter and on Sports Injury Central and look at the field views and six scores yourself. You can come up with the same algorithm. The decisions are very similar that we're coming up with here.
And
if
take
you
my
want,
job. Yeah.
if you want to do the homework.
Yeah.
If you don't, get the sick picks, and
No,
then
for sure.
just get, cut to the chase.
And if you don't like football, we have basketball and hockey too. Okay. Just saying. Sorry.
And let
We're
me
fighting
tell
on
you,
hockey, but it's all
Yeah.
right.
let me tell you, basketball might be a bigger effect, because think about it. If you go by 11 starting offensive players and 11 defensive starting players, and yes, you have to figure out the drop off from the starter to the backup, etc. This is why we hit, third stringers, fourth stringers a lot heavier in cluster injuries. But you assume 22 starters, and we talk a lot about cluster injuries. For example, why we're saying PJ Walker because of the defensive secondary issues for the Falcons, cluster injuries. But if you think about it, in basketball, it's 5 starters.
Yep.
Okay, they play 8 people, maybe 10, depending, but it's 5 starters versus 22. Football is 22 starters and about 35 probably play. Basketball, it's 5 starters and 8 or 10 play. But each 5 starters is worth 4.5 starters.
Yep.
So it's wiping out a linebacker group. It's wiping out an offensive line when you have a basketball injury, potentially. You got to look at the backup and situation. And that's why so far the prop plays are what
we'll bring an example up. The Duke rookie Banchero. We've hit that twice already because, like you said, cluster. There's 4 guards out for that team. So, like you said, there's also 5 positions. If there's multiple guards that hits multiple spots, there's no playmakers. He's the passer. We've been doing that. So, like you said, clusters are a huge part.
Yeah,
and
Lakers have no centers.
Yep. So you get
a big part of it too. Yeah.
And that may be, and we're still young into the basketball season, but we're 7-2 or whatever.
We are 6-2. Yeah.
Sorry, only 6-2.
Yeah, props.
Only 6-2 on the props so far. Looking at the effect of injuries, the NFL stuff has been hitting pretty well.
Right.
It's been high 50s, maybe low 60s. The props a little higher than the sides and totals, but even that's what 58, 59, etc. For the outkick picks that I do. First losing week of the season. 2-3.
You've been really well.
So we're on the outkick 5 picks against the spread. We're 24, 14, and 2.
You have 2 ties.
And that's very publicly vetted through the website there. But first losing week, did not like that.
You started off 2-1. Yeah,
you know what? You know what I'm gonna blame? Yeah. I'm gonna blame Norv.
Okay. Is he listening to this? Yeah, is he listening to this?
I'm really Norv. Norv, you're an investor. You're an advisor to us. Why are you gonna have Scott beat us with that Washington Taylor Heineke big long throw to Terry McLaurin with 22 seconds left to beat us on the Colts there?
Norv did say Taylor's good in flashes, so maybe we need to wait out.
Wait for the flash to die down. Yeah.
Can we put a muzzle on him? There are some things that are said that are in confidence. Okay. I mean, you guys are killing me today on Norv and Rob.
We're on the same team.
I know, it's like you're spilling the beans. I mean, I think
Dan Snyder's coming after us.
Yeah.
No, people. Some things are in confidence, guy.
Yeah.
There's pride. I mean, that's why before we did the North thing, what do you think about? I won't even say the topic. Fill in the blank, and people.
And he said blah blah blah. Yeah.
And it was good, but I was like, okay, we're not putting that on.
We can do the same thing here, though, so it's good. Yeah.
Let's touch on some Week 9 injury topics, and then we'll get to the beast of the week.
Sure.
Jonathan Taylor with the ankle re-aggravation. Luckily, hit his prop by 2 yards. I think it was 3 yards by the end of it, but was ineffective after come back. He had 5 rushes for 38 yards and then 11 rushes for 38 yards after the fact. So,
look, he's still in the game, thankfully. I mean, we got lucky there at the end. I thought his ankle would be fine, quite honestly, but you can never, fine versus 100%. It's probably not 100% for a few weeks. I mean, look at Jordan Poyer's elbow. I mean, he's fine, but he's, re-injured it. And Jonathan Taylor was fine until he re-injured it.
Right.
That does happen. It's not healed 100%, especially an ankle sprain, the way ligaments heal. But I don't see it being long-term or as long as last time. Now, it's too early to tell if he's going to get a week off to get it right. And a lot of that becomes coaching decision.
Right.
Like, we want Hines or we want someone else, or we're okay. And what's the matchup? Or will we take an 85% Jonathan Taylor? Or do we want him to just get to 100 and give him another week or two?
Yeah.
Mike Williams with the high ankle sprain. They had a bye this week. They come back against the Falcons. No chance he plays, right? He's still another 2-3 weeks away.
I think it's going to be tough for him to play. Although Keenan should be able to.
Right. He was able to rest that hamstring in the bye. So
shoulder the load.
Irv Smith Jr. left with a high ankle sprain for the Vikings tight end. They get the Commanders this week. Not expecting to see him probably 2 to 4 weeks. Is that accurate, Doc?
I mean, you showed that to me this morning on replay. He was like barely
in the screen.
Yep.
And it does look like a left high ankle sprain. I can't give you the complete severity, but given the type of player that he is, the initial estimate's 2 to 4 weeks. I'm optimistic. Maybe he can avoid injured reserve, but 2 to 4 weeks.
He's more of a fast tight end than a plotter, so it will affect him a little more.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Rams versus Bucks. Those are two teams that are just complete messes on offense, injury wise. So that'll be an interesting matchup this week. We'll have the latest on Cooper Kupp.
Hangover.
Look, I thought the Rams, did better with Brian Allen back, less up the middle pressure, but then they didn't score in the second half at all. Yep. Nothing.
Still didn't have a run game. So yeah, pass protection got a little bit better, but the two guards out still really hurting them.
Yeah.
And those are on the third strings. They're not on the second. So they're deep into the bench on those positions.
I mean, from an injury perspective, the Rams offensive line is still worse than the Bucks offensive line.
Right. More recent stuff too.
Yeah. From that's the main thing. But look, both defensive lines are pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's going to be interesting. I think that's where the storyline is. It's not about Matthew Stafford and Tom Brady.
Hicks has a chance to play this week too to strengthen the D-line as well.
Should, but Villa is still there. Obviously, Aaron Donald and company. So that should be interesting.
To be which D-line could take advantage of that the most. Ravens score keeps getting lower. They play Monday against the Saints. Rashad Bateman re-aggravated that foot. Mark Andrews now has a knee and the AC joint, and then Gus Edwards was a hamstring. So that'll be one to track going in against Saints, and if the Saints can get Michael Thomas or Jarvis Landry back.
It's crazy how much they pick up an injury every week. We do these numbers for so many years, and sometimes I'm waiting for the unhealthy team to get better. Like the Eagles, remember a couple years ago, the O-line was crushed for the first half, and we saw that eventually get better. Their number can't get over 75 to 78 this year. They just can't do it. They already started at that, and it's every week, you have that Marcus Williams a couple weeks ago, you have cornerbacks, you have now the new ones. It's a lot.
Well, I think they'll get there eventually, hopefully, but right now, not
winning
quite. Yeah, they're doing all right.
5-3, yeah.
That's one because of their number. We were shorting them on injuries, and they're kind of outperforming expectations.
Yeah.
I think we've cashed on a bunch of covers related to them, but
Miami specifically,
but they're it's tough. We'll do all the field views and all the analysis. You talk about, and maybe some of this we talk about coach speak, and it feels like I'm banging on coaches, but I think some of it is coach speak, but some of it is media interpretation of what they're saying.
I agree.
You guys see the Tyler Lockett statement?
Yes, the veiled shot. Yes, I did see that.
What was it again? And what was the veiled shot again?
It was something about taking credit. Like this is how it feels to win without someone taking credit for it.
Yeah, if people aren't worried about taking credit, it's easier to win or something like that. It's easy, something to that effect. You can get the quote right. And there was a lot of people, veiled shot at Russell Wilson. And
it's amazing what you can accomplish when nobody cares who gets the credit. Okay. My high school coach always said that. He just added that part at the end. I don't know if his high school coach said that.
We'll track down the high school coach. Yeah.
Okay. And then everyone jumped on that. Yeah. Did you see the reaction? Apparently,
Lockett answered. He said, people need to stop reaching. I've said this quote 5 to 10 times since I've been in the league. Stop looking for a story and let's enjoy our team.
And he was very
Russell Wilson's in the news. Yep. Everyone
respectful
wants to put it right there.
Of Russell Wilson when he came back. He told Seattle fans to cheer for Russell for what he did for this team.
He's the one that had the connection. And DK was a good little target for him. He was with Lockett for a majority of that time. They spent a lot of time together.
They were pretty tight. Yeah.
I mean, I'd say I'm not even sure Tyler Lockett was aiming it at Russell Wilson.
I think the media wanted him to. I agree with you, right, with that.
I mean, AB's trolling Tom Brady a lot more than Tyler Lockett.
Well, how quickly does it take to go against this? All someone has to do is get the video of him saying it before.
Yeah.
He said it 5 to 10 times, and every single one of these is recorded. So little internet sleuthing.
Look at the exact quote.
Sounds like a project for you.
Yeah, I know, man.
All right, we got some Beast of the Week candidates. First one I found was Colts cornerback Kenny Moore, the second. Reporter caught up with him and asked him because he suffered a finger injury during practice this week. They said, how's the finger doing? He said, which one? I guess he's been playing with a torn ligament in his left hand and had a right hand sprain during Friday's practice. happens a lot to secondary, so I don't think they're that they're not too.
It happens.
They're pretty nonchalant about it.
It happens to D linemen. It
Right.
happens to linebackers. I mean, everyone knows Torrey Holt. It happens to wide receiver.
Yeah.
His finger picture. There's a lot more finger injuries than you even know about. The routine for finger injuries is someone dislocates a finger and you don't even hear about it. They pop it back in themselves, or a teammate pops it back in, or they run over to the sideline for a quick second and they don't even miss the next play. I mean, look, did people know how bad Kyle Juszczyk's finger was that needed surgery before he missed time? I mean, he finished
Came back
the game,
yeah.
you know, and it's well, we can give him an honorable mention, but that's so routine. It's you know where I'm going to almost go with this. It's more abnormal for someone to come off the field holding his finger, miss time, and make a big than it is,
and talk about it constantly. Yeah,
and then I'm not going to say who.
I'm saying it in my mind so much; it's so annoying that it's there.
Obviously, it's one of Taylor's guys. So.
Yeah, the one I have is Giants center Nick Gates coming back, playing his first game since that gruesome leg fracture.
Tib fib.
Yep.
And we always said he's going to make it back. It looks bad. He's going to make it back. I mean, don't be prisoner of the moment on Alex Smith. I mean, that was a complication from infection. I mean, Paul George, tib fib, back fully basketball. This tib fib. There's other examples of.
Do you remember
fibs.
the Paul George one? I remember that the stanchion because they were playing at a Euro game.
Yeah.
That was an interesting one. Yeah,
that's a big boy to have a tib fib though. Nick Gates come back and put all that weight on it. That takes a lot of confidence.
That happened on prime time football too. I remember. Yeah, that was a big injury.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. Kudos to Nick Gates for coming back, and he'll help the Giants.
So Feliciano can go back to left guard, and then they can have solidified at center.
Yeah,
help at two spots.
Yes,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And the one you brought up, Doc, Jordan Poyer left last night's game with the elbow injury. He had the elbow hyperextension in preseason, and I think it was training camp, and then came off yesterday after making a tackle and looked like re-aggravated in his. He said his.
Yeah, I think he stayed in the game. He stayed on the sideline.
Right.
He was wrapped, and I think it was more score that he was pulled out, and the whole deal. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but you said his wife tweeted that. Wear your brace then.
Yeah, something to that effect. Apparently, she was saying.
So I'll do a beast just like from stats. McCaffrey passed, ran, and received a touchdown. Who is the last player to do that? 2005, and it has a connection to you, Doc, too.
Obviously, LT.
Yes, exactly. Yes,
LT did that a bunch.
He did. Yep.
But,
2005. Yeah.
But is it McCaffrey or is it Kyle Shanahan?
I was gonna say, are you impressed by how quickly they grasp the playbook together to be able to use them in 3 different packages like that?
Or is this a DeAndre Hopkins? Like I don't care if I'm healthy or a new team. I'm plug and play. I'm good. Like,
well, I mean, if you think about it, it probably makes sense that look, McCaffrey's going to be used a lot. He's the shiny new toy. He's very talented, and he was probably underutilized in Carolina. But it probably makes sense. I mean, at first I thought they're going to, because of Debo, use him more in the passing game, right? That was a prevailing thought.
Yeah.
But it's harder to incorporate someone into the passing game than it is the run game.
Okay.
So that's probably why he was still the primary runner, because it's easier to plug and play at running back. And as far as that pass, it's just a gadget play. And, he's just like, if he's not there, just run the sweep. I mean, the whole magic of that is to make the pass look close to flat and make it look, to suck up the DB.
Right.
And the respect for McCaffrey, the DB is going to get sucked up. Right. And then over the top. I mean, yeah, it's great that he could do that. I probably wouldn't have gotten that LT reference
if I didn't say. I didn't want to make you wait too long. Yeah.
No, I mean,
we thought Taysom Hill done it this year, but I think he just threw for one and ran for one.
Yeah,
he didn't catch one. Yeah,
he had a catch, but not a touchdown catch. Yeah.
No, the most impressive one I ever saw, and I'll give it. We weren't doing the Beast of the Weeks. Okay, so. I mean, LT, of course, great. I mean, I almost shrug at that.
Because he's like, he does it all the time.
He can run. I mean, yes. And everyone, and LT, God love it, he didn't throw a super pure ball. He was open because everyone
Right,
respected,
exactly.
the pitch and the run and the
Yep.
sweep, right?
Yeah.
That's why he was
Dangerous on the outside.
He was
yeah.
open.
Yep.
It's a nice little stat, the passer.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think the better one that I don't think anyone will ever beat,
Okay.
and he was a former Charger.
Okay.
He's known for being a Patriot, but it happened in Miami. Who is it? A guy caught a touchdown pass,
Mm-hmm.
kicked the extra point, kicked off, and went down and made the tackle.
Doug Flutie.
When was Doug Flutie on the Dolphins?
I heard Patriots. I don't know.
I don't know.
Chargers, Dolphins, Patriots. He's now
missed the
a
Dolphins part.
coach in
Completely
San
missed it.
Francisco.
Okay.
Wide receiver coach.
Oh, Wes Welker. Yeah.
Wes
There you
Welker.
go.
Yeah. I had to
Wes
redeem myself
Welker
there. Yeah.
caught a touchdown pass in Miami.
Okay.
Look it up. Kicked the extra point. Kicked off. This was due to injury.
Yep.
Okay.
And ran down and made the special teams tackle. That's
pretty good.
That's
pick that up.
yeah.
4 straight plays. That's
Yeah.
pretty.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, love McCaffrey and LT, but that, I mean, and you know what his nickname after that was? Junior Seau was on that Dolphins team.
Oh, awesome.
You know what he nicknamed? He nicknames everybody, right?
Uh-huh.
And media, if you catch on this, you can ask Wes about
Yeah.
this. He nicknamed him Rudy.
That's awesome. Because he wasn't that big. He wasn't big yet. He wasn't. Yeah, exactly. He was still figuring himself out. Yeah.
This is pre-New England. He was
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
an unknown name at
Absolutely.
this point in time. But
Right.
that to me is
That's definitely beast.
so
yeah.
we'll give him the beast on that one, even though this
We
is
didn't
like
get to give him one then. Yeah.
well
yeah.
over a decade.
Yeah,
I, don't
yes.
I don't remember the year, but I
Yeah.
remember that. That was like I don't know how you're going to top that.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's pretty good. Yeah.
That's pretty stellar, right?
Pretty
there.
unique.
Yeah.
Force and consecutively. I mean, imagine that
fourth place.
streak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess what I'm saying, CMC. Okay, let me see you run for a touchdown, and the next time you touch the ball, catch a touchdown pass. And the next time you touch the ball, throw a touchdown pass. No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
3 consecutive. Yeah.
Well, it'll never be consecutive.
Right,
Well, I
right,
guess you could do 2 consecutive. Score the touchdown and get the 2-point conversion.
Yes. Yeah.
Or get the 2-point conversion, have it called back by penalty, and then do it again. I don't know.
And you get
We'll work that out. Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Thanks for joining us. Pro Football Doc Podcast, Sports Injury Central. Yes, basketball season is starting. World Series is here. All eyes still on football, but we're slowly morphing over as there's more things, more sick picks this week. And let's do a mid-season review. It'll be mid-season next week for the podcast.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening and watching. Any closing comments from you guys? So you're going to be a dinosaur tonight, and you're going to be
I'm going to be Jack Skellington. Yeah. From Night Before Christmas.
yeah, and I'm going to be who knows.
Yeah.
Mystery box.
Justin, what are you going to be? I know you're dressed up. You got a little one. You're going to be.
She's a
dressed up.
pumpkin. I just saw her. Yeah.
Yeah.
this little one-
Yeah, well, she's a pumpkin right now, but we're dressing her up as the PJ Masks. So she's going to be Owlette. I don't know if you.
Oh,
It's
okay.
a kid show, PJ Masks.
I know what they
so,
are. Yeah, that's a good one. That's
Okay, go ahead. What are you, Justin?
I'm Gecko. I'm Gecko. My wife
See?
is Catboy, and she's Owlette. The kid's Owlette.
See, well, look, when you have little ones, and
Yeah.
you get the
You get roped
family
in,
dress
yeah.
up.
Yep.
As I showed pictures, you get the family dress up, kind of. But then by kindergarten, they start to say, "Nah, I'm doing my own."
Want to have
thing.
their own
This is-
personality,
it's
yeah.
just, they don't want to do the family thing anymore, kind of thing.
That makes sense.
So I got to see your Gecko and Owlette, and you'll have to post it on social
Yeah.
media,
Yes,
Justin.
for sure.
Awesome. I will.
All right. Thanks for listening and watching. We'll catch you next week, and happy Halloween.